The illusion of choice is one of the most captivating concepts that humanity has grappled with on the surface. It feels like our lives are driven by decisions we consciously make each day, from what we wear to the career paths we choose. We believe that we hold the steering wheel of our destiny, but is it truly so? Or are we merely passengers in a vehicle, directed by unseen forces? Calling it choice to comfort ourselves? The question of free will versus fate has been debated by philosophers for centuries, and the more we reflect on it, the more the lines blur between what we think we control and what is already set in motion. Imagine standing at a crossroads. To your left, there's a well-trodden path that promises stability and comfort. To your right, a more uncertain road, perhaps fraught with challenges, but also with the potential for growth. You stop, you think, you weigh the pros and cons. After much deliberation, you take the left path. But did you truly choose? Or were you simply led there by the sum of your experiences, your fears, and your desires, factors that have been shaped long before you even arrived at this crossroad? There's an old saying, man proposes but God disposes. It speaks to the idea that we can make plans, we can dream, we can set our hearts on a certain outcome, but ultimately, the world, fate, the universe, or whatever force you believe in, has the final word. It's easy to convince ourselves that our choices are independent, but think about it. What influences your choices? Your upbringing, your culture, the circumstances you were born into, the beliefs instilled in you. All of these play a role in the choices you make. Take, for instance, the story of a child born into poverty. This child, as they grow older, may be presented with certain choices: to pursue education, to find work, or perhaps to fall into harmful behaviors. But how much of this is a true choice? Without access to proper schooling, without guidance from mentors, without the resources that a wealthier child might have, their range of options becomes limited. The world may tell them they have the freedom to choose, but in reality, the environment has already shaped much of their path. The brain, the organ that we rely on to make choices, is itself a product of countless influences. Neurologically, our thoughts and actions are shaped by a complex interplay of genetics, past experiences, and environmental factors. Every decision you think you're making independently is influenced by something, whether it's a memory from childhood, a deeply ingrained belief, or even a fleeting emotion. The brain likes to create narratives, and one of its favorite stories is the idea that we are in control. But this narrative often hides the deeper truth. Much of what we decide is already influenced by things outside our immediate awareness. Another saying goes, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. This captures the essence of how fragile human planning can be in the face of fate. We plan, we dream, we choose, but life has a way of twisting those plans. The unexpected can happen at any moment, reminding us of how little control we truly have. Perhaps you've planned out a perfect day, only for a storm to ruin it. Perhaps you've planned your entire career, only to face sudden obstacles that derail everything. You thought you had control, but fate had other plans. Why, then, do we cling so strongly to the idea of choice? It's because the illusion of choice offers comfort. It allows us to believe that we are in charge of our lives. Without this belief, life can feel overwhelming, chaotic, even meaningless. If we don't have control, then what is the point of our actions? So we tell ourselves stories. We look at the roads we've taken, and instead of seeing all the external factors that led us there, we focus on the decision we made at the moment. This is not to say that we are puppets devoid of any agency. Rather, it's to highlight the subtle forces at play that guide us in ways we may not always recognize. Everything happens for a reason, another popular saying, speaks to the interplay between fate and choice. When faced with situations beyond our control, humans often turn to this phrase as a means of finding meaning in the chaos. But this also hints at a deeper truth, that much of what happens in life is beyond our control. It happens, and then we retroactively assign reasons or choices to it. And yet, humans are wired to believe in the power of choice. The brain thrives on it because choice gives us the sense that we matter, that our actions have significance. It's a survival mechanism, a way for us to feel empowered in a world that is often indifferent to our desires. To conclude, the illusion of choice is both a gift and a curse. It allows us to navigate life with purpose and direction, even if that purpose is shaped by forces beyond our control. We can make choices, but we must also recognize the limitations of our freedom. Fate, in its quiet and often invisible way, plays a role in shaping the path we walk. As the saying goes, we are but leaves floating on the winds of destiny.